And we've got another episode of What Do You Think? Thank you for tuning in and please subscribe for more of these. I'll be doing a lot of these, getting as many of these encounters out as possible. And remember, if you've had the encounter as well and you want to share it here, I can make its own little video for you, its own little archive. You get the conversation going there. If somebody's had that same experience, contact them through there. Let's go, people. There's a lot of similarities and a lot of different things and what's going on, but we all know it's one thing. We got to figure it out. So I think together we can do this. This gentleman or madam, Doomsdaybaby2000, has had three separate encounters in Pennsylvania. And here is each one. Encounter 1. My first encounter was in the woods by Myersdale, Pennsylvania. My two friends and I were playing paintball and it got dark. It was about 10:30 p.m. in the middle of summer. I believe it was 2013. We were walking through the field, and my one friend was making random noises. We told him to knock it off, and we're laughing and stuff. Suddenly, I would say about 30 feet behind us, max, we heard a howl that ended in this blood-curdling scream. We dropped all our gear. I'm talking several $100s worth of paintball equipment and ran. I've never ran this much in my life. We kept running until we got out of the field and back onto the street. My one friend and I returned the next morning to retrieve our gear, and we heard wood knocks that came from two separate directions. Encounter number 2. My second encounter happened in the summer of 2015 at night at the Jockey Hollow boat launch at the I'm probably butchering this, Yugani River Lake. It'll be easier to understand the details if you look it up on Google Maps. My parents and I were night fishing. We were the only ones there. I walked to the part of the parking lot where the road enters when all of a sudden this deer jumped down and slammed right onto the concrete and immediately got off and ran off. I felt uneasy as it was such a strange random thing, so I walked back to my parents on the other side of the parking lot. About 10 minutes go by when all of a sudden we hear what sounds a lot like a chimpanzee, but much darker, like that. Ooh, 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 ah, ah, that chimps do. I can't really do that too well, but maybe I did it too well. But with much more snorting mixed in, and it very deep, where it was on the side of the parking lot that is lined with thick brush. My father, who had hunted for over 40 years, was even on edge. He turned the car on and pointed the lights in the direction, but it was too far back to see anything. Where this thing had to have been at the water is at least 4 to 5 feet deep at the time. After that, it stopped. About another 20 minutes go by, and right in front of me in the water lands a rock that had to be at least the size of a volleyball. I had a lantern on the ground, so I only caught a glimpse as it hit, but I knew it was large from the splash. I know it was a rock. After that, we left. Encounter number 3. My last encounter was again outside of Myersdale, Pennsylvania. My friend and I were hunting on his aunt's property. After we parked, we start up a hill that gets steep. Where the wood line starts, we split up. He goes off to the left, and I went all the way to the top of the hill to a deer stand that's in the woods, about 40 yards from the field. This was our third day there. As I was climbing up the deer stand, I hear a distant whoop. I estimate 100 yards ahead of me. I decided I didn't want to be a sitting duck in the deer stand, so I climbed down and went back onto the field where I sat. Once the sun began going down, I decided to walk back down the hill. Now inside the woods was pitch black, but there was still some light in the field. Once I got to the bottom where the woodbine curves, I hit footsteps. I looked up and I saw a silhouette walking on the other side of the bush where the woodline curves. I figured it was my friend who decided to walk up to meet me since it was getting dark. I said, "Hey, did you see any deer?" And all of a sudden, this thing tore into the woods and made its way up the hill. I know this was no person as it was pitch black in them woods and there was so much debris. There was no way a person could move at that speed that this thing was. I clearly could make out the bipedal footsteps. My friend came out of the woods about 60 yards away. I saw his light before I saw him. He said he heard someone walking around and also questioned me about the whoop as he thought it was me that did it. It was then that I introduced him to the Bigfoot world and he said, "Damn it, I never thought about all that weird stuff I heard up there until you showed me all this." Apparently he has heard things up there before. Needless to say, we didn't go hunting up there again. Wow. Well, I've heard lots of Bigfoot noises, calls, things they do, and this fits in the rocks being thrown, the wood knocking, the whoop, the deep, almost ape sound. Amazing, folks. This is he's got it's in Myersdale, Pennsylvania. So if you're in that area, you're watching this video, reach out to him. Maybe you can get a better idea of where this is. Um, and maybe you've seen Bigfoot out there too. So to the audience, you know what we're gonna say here. What do you think?